You're shaking.
It passes.
Not hunger.
Why help me?
Because someone should.
The desert diner sat at the edge of nowhere, half a mile off Route 9, surrounded by cracked earth and silence. It had no walls, just a rusted aluminum roof held up by four metal poles, a few round tables bolted to the ground, and a long chrome counter where a man named Roy served greasy food to truckers, drifters, and the occasional lost soul brave enough to stop. On a Tuesday morning that smelled like hot sand and motor oil, a figure appeared at the edge of the parking lot. She walked slowly, the way something walks when it has forgotten what rest feels like. Her long black hair whipped behind her in the dry desert wind. Her skin was pale, not the pale of someone who stayed indoors, but the pale of something that had never quite belonged to the warm, living world. Her ears tapered to soft points at the tips, barely visible beneath her hair. Her eyes were dark and still, like deep water with nothing swimming in it. She was an elf, or what humans sometimes called one, though her people had a different name for themselves, one that had no translation in any human tongue. She stopped at the edge of the covered seating area and stood there, not sitting, not speaking, just standing, as if waiting for permission that she didn't quite believe would come. There were 4 other customers at the diner that morning. 2 truckers at the counter, a woman in a sun hat reading a paperback, and a younger man in a leather jacket sitting alone at one of the round tables, a half-eaten burger in his hand and a basket of fries in front of him. The truckers noticed her first. "Well, look at that," one of them said, loud enough to be heard. He wasn't laughing yet, but the smile on his face was the kind that comes before a laugh, the kind that means someone else is the joke. "What is that supposed to be?" the other one said. "Halloween's not for 6 months." The woman in the sun hat glanced up from her book, looked at the elf for a moment, then looked back down. She didn't say anything, but she didn't move to make room either. The elf's eyes moved slowly across the diner. She wasn't looking for trouble. She was looking for food. She had been walking for 2 days. She had not eaten in longer than that, long enough that her hands had begun to tremble slightly when she held them still. She approached the counter. Roy, the man behind it, set down the coffee pot he was holding and looked at her with an expression that fell somewhere between discomfort and suspicion. "We don't." He stopped himself. Started again. "What do you want?" "Something to eat," she said. Her voice was quiet, flat with exhaustion. "This place is for paying customers. I can pay." She reached into the pocket of her worn linen coat and set a small coin on the counter. It was oval, made of something dull gold, with markings on it that no one in that diner could read. Roy stared at it. "That's not money. It is where I come from." "You're not where you come from." One of the truckers laughed then, a real one, big and rolling, the kind that fills a room. "She's trying to buy lunch with a bottle cap," he said. The other one shook his head. "Someone oughta tell her kind to stay in the woods where they belong." The elf stood very still. She picked the coin back up and closed her fingers around it. She did not look at the truckers. She did not argue. There was a particular stillness that comes over a person, or something like a person, when they have been dismissed so many times that reaction no longer feels worth the energy it costs. She turned from the counter and walked to the far edge of the covered area, away from everyone. She sat down at the empty table farthest from the road, folded her hands on the surface, and stared out at the desert. She was not going to cry. She had run out of that particular resource sometime during the previous winter. She was simply going to sit because sitting was easier than walking, and walking was all she had left. It was the man in the leather jacket who stood up. He hadn't said anything during the whole exchange. He'd been watching, eating his burger slowly, his expression unreadable. Now he picked up his basket of fries and his untouched second drink. Roy always gave him 2 without asking, some old habit, and he walked over to her table. He set the fries down in front of her. He set the drink beside them. Then he pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. She looked at the food. Then she looked at him. Her dark eyes moved across his face the way you look at something when you're trying to understand if it's real. "I didn't ask for your pity," she said. "Good," he said, "because I didn't bring pity. I brought fries." He nodded at the basket. "They're getting cold." She looked at the fries again. Her hands were trembling very slightly. She put them flat on the table to stop it. "Why?" she asked. He considered the question. He wasn't the kind of man who gave quick answers to real questions. "Because you walked in here hungry and nobody moved," he said. "That bothers me." She didn't say anything to that. She reached out and took a fry, then another. She ate carefully at first, the way something eats when it has learned to be careful about hope, like taking too much at once might make it disappear. He didn't watch her eat. He looked out at the desert instead, giving her the small dignity of not being observed in her hunger. Behind them, one of the truckers muttered something. The man in the leather jacket didn't turn around. "I'm Marcus," he said. She was quiet for a moment. Then, Silvara. "That's a good name." She picked up a drink, took a sip. Something in her face changed then. Not dramatically, not the way it changes in stories all at once and full of light. It changed the way ice changes at the very beginning of a thaw. Slow, almost invisible, but real. "I haven't eaten since the canyon," she said. "That's 2 days from here," Marcus said. 3 for me. I don't move as fast on flat ground." He nodded. He waved Roy over and ordered her a full meal, burger, more fries, another drink, and paid for it with human money without making a performance of it. Roy took the order with a sour expression, but he took it. When the food came, she ate all of it, every last piece. Marcus sat across from her and drank his soda and watched the desert shimmer in the heat and didn't ask her anything she wasn't ready to answer. And when she finally set down the empty glass and looked at him, really looked at him the way she hadn't let herself look at anyone in a long time, there was something in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Not gratitude, exactly. Gratitude was too small a word, and it was also the wrong shape. It was something closer to the feeling of remembering that the world contains, somewhere within it, people who will slide a basket of fries across a table to a stranger who is starving. Not because they have to, not because anyone is watching, just because it's the right thing to do. End. Word count, 1 250 words. This story is ready for your video narration. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments to the tone, pacing, or ending, or if you'd like me to write the next one.